Let's talk mindset for marketing your private practice without the guilt. Hi, I'm Kat from catlove.com, and today my guest is Allison Puryear. Allison is the founder of abundancepracticebuilding.com. She is a private practice building consultant and a therapist who's as passionate about practice building as she is about helping her clients change their lives. Today, Allison will be sharing insights with us to help you improve your mindset when it comes to marketing your private practice. We discuss the benefits of having a good online marketing mindset, how marketing is not a dirty word, common blocks that therapists have towards putting themselves out there online, how to avoid building and marketing the wrong practice, and one thing you can do right now to improve your marketing mindset. Let's talk. Hi, Allison. Thank you so much for coming to speak with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
So I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about the mindset that therapists can have around online marketing. And I know that this is a pain point for a lot of therapists when it comes to just putting themselves out there online and yeah, just everything. So I think I want to start with asking you, like, what's the benefit of having a good mindset around marketing online?
Well, for one thing, just kind of like ongoing comfort. Instead of feeling like you have this business that you need to promote, but promotion's bad and marketing's bad until you're in this conundrum where you can't really get anywhere and you always feel guilty. So I think if you reframe marketing as just letting people know what you do, and trusting them to make a decision about whether or not you're a fit for them, then it's a really different kind of experience than what a lot of people think of as marketing. Because I know a lot of people kind of associate it with manipulation and things like that, which none of us want a part of that, right? So if you just think about it like you're you and you're going to show up and you're going to do what you do. And if it's a good fit, people are going to show up and work with you. And if they don't know you're there because you're not marketing, then you're really doing them a disservice because you might be the best possible person to work with them and what they need. And you steal that from them if you're not marketing. So, yeah.
No, yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like it's almost a crime for therapists not to market themselves because they're doing such a great service for society and for people and individuals and families and yeah, there's just so much benefit to therapeutic services.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember when we were talking about meeting today, you mentioned this idea of marketing being a dirty word. So, what do you think that what I mean, like what did you mean by that and like how do you see that coming up for therapists?
Yeah, so I think a lot of us initially associate it with like skeeziness and salesiness and manipulation and that's fair on some levels because there are people out there, not usually therapists, but there are people out there who market too aggressively and it is about manipulation and kind of like convincing people that they need what they're selling instead of just offering it as an option. Um, and so I think like absolutely in that framework, yeah, it's dirty, it's gross, and that's where a lot of people who don't know how to market authentically are gonna go in their head of like, I can't do that and feel like myself. But if you take anything to the nth degree, like when I was in grad school, my aunt was like, I really don't understand why you'd want to be a therapist because they're always crazy.
Aw.
And I was like thinking, my aunt probably knows some people who are therapists who are not crazy, but she's probably met a few who maybe had some emotion dysregulation. Um, and so she took it to the nth degree and made it about like, this is what that is. And so if we do the same kind of thing with marketing, then we miss out, our clients miss out. It's just plain false too, because there's this whole breadth of marketing. So if you think about it as a way to let people know what you offer and you come at it from this authentic, heartfelt space, then you can actually have a really good time with marketing. Like I absolutely love marketing, and I never would have expected that of myself until I started really reframing it. Um, you can be really effective with marketing if you are heartfelt in this arena. I think if you do anything but heartfelt, authentic marketing, you're going to scare clients away. So it's nice that we're kind of held within these boundaries of the thing you're most comfortable with marketing wise is the thing that's going to work the best. So that's lucky.
Yeah, that is lucky. Can you say
Yeah.
more about why you like it so much? I mean, I can see like a huge smile on your face when you're saying that. Like you're like wee marketing. Like so what is it for you that's like so fun?
I think for me, it's like you get to just show up and be yourself, and you end up attracting the people that you want to be around. Like I think of marketing as like there are so many different facets to it. Like networking is marketing, like blogging is marketing, your website copy is marketing, responding in Facebook groups is marketing. All of these things are essentially marketing, but you can also just do it like you would as a normal human being who has opinions or the desire to connect or whatever. And so I think too, like if you've ever called for your own therapy, if the person who answered the phone was like, yeah, what are you coming in for? And you give your vulnerable answer and they're like, okay. Instead of like, oh, that's what I love working with. Like the relief that you feel because answering the phone is marketing. If you're spoken to as a client, as someone that the person wants to be around and wants to help, and they specialize in what you're struggling in, like the hope that that creates, sorry, for the loud noises, the hope that that creates, the relief that it provides, like marketing can do that. And that's a pretty
Totally.
powerful thing. So it's not just about building up your practice or building your business. It's about providing what you want to in the world. So, yeah, that's what I love about it.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like what you were saying about how it really, you can really connect with the people that you want to connect with. Like, that's really amazing, right? Like you said, show up as yourself and then you attract the people that you want to work with. And that's like magic almost.
Yeah, it really is. And like I know the people that work with me are a little less formal. They're a little more fun. They're goofy. They laugh, like we get real and we get vulnerable and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not working with a bunch of stiffs who are trying to follow all the like decorum of this is how I talk to another person, you know? Like there might be some blocks to get them loose, but they're open to it and they want it because that's what I'm putting out there. And so that's what they're interested in. Um, so it's interesting how it does. Like it calls in your people and then you're surrounded by friends essentially. I mean, not your clients, but like they're people that you'd want to spend time with,
Yeah, your people, like your people.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, totally.
totally.
Um, so yeah, so maybe one mistake that therapists have in terms of their mindsets when it comes to online marketing is not showing up as themselves. Like, because I've seen that where therapists are kind of more buttoned up, or they're like, oh, I have to be like professional, and I have to. So what are like that's one mistake that I've seen, but are there other mistakes that you've seen or witnessed in therapists when they're like trying to put themselves out there online in terms of their mindset or how they approach it? Um, yeah.
Yeah, I see the same thing a lot. It's kind of like our humanity is beaten out of us in grad school, and then we're like in this place where we're supposed to be so formal and academic in so many ways, and our humanity is what our clients connect with. It's what has them choose us. Like, yeah, it's nice that we have our degrees and maybe we have our special experiences that we talk about clinically, but they want to know that we're human beings and that they're going to be comfortable with us. So yeah, I see that. And I see people who maybe either they haven't developed their sense of self completely, and they're kind of copying what some of their peers are doing in terms of the way they're presenting themselves. I see that sometimes. And when those people are in my practice building groups, we do a lot of work around like, you might agree with this person, but is that the way that you'd say it? Like, how would you say it? And yeah, the professional development piece that goes along with building a practice often has to do with like really rooting in and having this deepened sense of self that you can hold on to and trust that it's good enough, because our insecurities are going to come up, and that's another reason people will kind of imitate the way other people are presenting themselves. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just remembering, this is making me remember, I think in your Facebook group, you said once that um, building a private practice is one of the best exercises for personal development or something like that. This
Yeah.
totally sounds like that, like you're turning inward, saying, um, you, trying to come up with the self-belief and the self-worth that you need in order to make things happen. And yeah, that's like totally not like, taxes and accounting
Right.
and like getting your licenses in order and all that stuff. It's not, yeah. Is that
Yeah.
surprising, or has that been
Um,
surprising?
I think it's surprising for other people. I've gone through it enough. I think it was surprising for me at first because I was like, well, no, I just need to do a business. What does that have to do with my personal life? But I've seen it as such a recurring theme for people that now, like, the very first thing I ever do with anybody, practice building wise, is like we get clear. We get a lot of clarity around how they want their practice to fit into their life, not the other way around, who they want to work with, and who they are as a clinician. Because without those things, what I find is people are building the wrong practices. Like, they're taking the people who aren't their people, they're working with them, they're feeling burned out. They're like, I left this agency because I thought I was going to have this really awesome practice and now I'm miserable. And so that's when the people who have full practices that come to me, they're like, I'm doing something that's not working.
Something's
Can you
wrong.
can we figure out what that is?
Yeah.
And it usually comes down to just not having real clarity and not putting their energy and resources in the thing that's going to build what they actually want. So yeah, been using
Yeah.
their marketing efforts, since I just kind of drove us around, using their marketing efforts to get who they want on their caseload.
Yeah, no, I feel like
So
the things that you're mentioning about the things that have to be clarified, like who you want to serve and who you are, and also the lifestyle design aspect of it, like thinking in terms of, okay, have kids and I want to be able to pick them up from school. What is that going to mean, for my business? Like, so, I mean, I think questions like that and being clear on that is really good, a really good thing to go through before you start like really heavily marketing.
yeah, yeah, because it's really hard to, like, if you decide you want Fridays off, it's really hard to take Fridays back once you've filled them up, you know? And so if we can start with the boundaries and parameters that are going to create the lifestyle that you want, then it's just a lot easier to build from there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. That reminded me of Brene Brown when she talks about boundaries a lot, and she was saying that the most compassionate people are the most boundaried.
Uh-huh.
And I was,
Yeah,
when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that just like totally blows me away, but it also feels good because it's like more permission
exactly.
to put those
Exactly.
boundaries in place, and you're not going to be like a selfish person if you want Fridays off or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I see that with marketing too, like the compassion with telling people where you're at, what you do, and letting them make the decision. Like, there's trust there. You don't have to manipulate somebody into coming to see you. You don't have to convince them because you're going to trust that if you're a good fit for them, they'll do it, whenever it's time for them to do it. And it releases, it gives permission that, like, you don't have to be something you're not from a marketing standpoint. You can just relax. So, yeah.
Ah, feels great.
Neat.
So, I was actually going to ask you because you work with therapists to help them build their practices, and you have some like mastermind groups and really great programs going on. And I was going to ask you if you have you seen anyone have kind of like a massive transformation around online marketing, like from when you first met them to now, or something like that. And if you've seen that happen, like, can you describe kind of an example journey from, the start to flourishing?
Yeah. So the thing that comes to mind first is actually more of like network marketing. That one of my clients, so I'm an eating disorder therapist, and so I end up getting a lot of eating disorder therapists, like attract like, in my program. And so she she was networking with an eating disorder dietitian.
Mm.
And she was so afraid of seeming salesy that she went like way on to the other side. And so when the dietitian is asking her, like, how do you like to work with clients? Like, what do you care about? She's like, trying. She's like, here's your platform, sell to me. She was just like, did some like psychobabble clinical talk and then kept
Oh,
redirecting the conversation because she was so afraid of coming off as salesy and not being liked and being seen as skeezy and all these kinds of things. And so we talked about it. We kind of like worked through some of the blocks that were there and some of the fear that was there. And then when she met with the next dietitian, they ended up like going on like this really amazing body positive rant together and intuitive eating rant, and just saw that they were exactly on the same page, and worked with clients in the same way, in a way that she showed up and was herself. She didn't have to like throw out her credentials or anything. She could just show up and be herself and talk about the things that she was passionate about instead of like dampening that down. And she got a ton of referrals, like continues to get referrals from that second dietitian, and never got any from the first because she was like the cardboard cutout of herself.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, I can speak about my own transformation with the online marketing, because it's going to sound bad, but I used to think of blogging as something like really self-indulgent millennials did, which was just me covering up my own fear of like, what if nobody cares what I have to say? And um, what if I put stuff out there and it just falls flat? And who am I to think that what I have to say is important? It just felt very presumptuous to me, and that was really confronting. So what what I ended up doing is kind of shifting that into thinking, like, this isn't about me. This is about how I can serve people. And so if I get really rooted into like each blog post is about serving somebody, it's giving somebody hope, it's giving somebody tools, it's giving somebody a pep talk, it's providing what's needed for my ideal client, then all of a sudden it was really easy to blog. And I still, like the first few times, broke out into a cold sweat when I hit publish. Like it was still scary, but I kind of like exposure therapied myself out of that, and just like went with it. Um, and now I love it. I love blogging. I love that it's a way for me to connect to the people um, that I love to serve, whether or not they ever become a client of mine. I love that I'm providing it for the people that I care about. Um, and yeah, there's not a lot of like free help out there, and so to be able to provide it, when it's certainly different from like clinical help, but it might be a pep talk somebody needed on a really hard day. It might be, just a sense of other people have been through something, they've gotten help, it's possible, there's hope. Um, that feels really good to provide.
Yeah,
So,
totally. I mean, so many people now turn to Google first for research. Like, they aren't going and talking to their friends, they aren't going and talking to their physician or something like that. They're just like, whip out their phone and be like, how do I deal with this? Or, crisis situation.
mhm.
And it might be, alongside their search for a therapist or some other solution. But yeah, I mean, imagine someone being in a crisis and landing on your blog and just really feeling that being seen and being heard and understood. I think a lot of therapy clients feel very alone, and that's something that can be overcome if there's like the more content, the more therapists that we have blogging, the less alone people are going to feel.
Right, right. And the less stigma.
Yeah,
Because
that
when you
too.
can just come out and be like, yeah, anxiety sucks. I deal with it sometimes too. Like, it's hard. Here are some things that can help. When you just own it without being like, I'm in this really shameful place and I can't let my clients know that I struggle with anything at all ever. Um, it's just false. And I think it really reinforces the stigma of like, you have feelings that you don't know what to do with. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So instead of like, guess what? Join the club. We're all there. So yeah, yeah. And it just, I don't know, it equalizes things some. And I think I'm not a big fan of this super hierarchy in therapy relationships. And I think the more we can do, just coming from a feminist perspective, the more we can do to minimize that, the better, while still maintaining appropriate clinical boundaries, of course. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
totally. Okay, so you've been sharing some amazing stuff. I have loved this conversation.
Right.
So if you could like kind of narrow things down or choose one thing that therapists watching this could do to start kind of shifting into the right mindset for marketing, and or maybe the rejection of marketing being a dirty word, like what's one thing that they can do right now?
I think just reframing it as you're just letting people know what you provide. That's all. Like if you sold ice cream, you wouldn't be like, I sell ice cream. You know, oh, we've got ice cream. It's good if you're hungry. You know? And so just like loosening up around it, like there are going to be some blocks there, and that's okay. But at least letting marketing be marketing and not whatever version of marketing you're telling yourself it is. Like it's just telling people that you're there. You're not having to convince anybody of anything. Please don't. Please don't convince anybody that they need to come see you. Um, that's just salesy.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, just take the pressure off.
that's awesome. So, you also have a awesome event coming up that I want to hear a little bit about. It's called Brew Your Practice. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was kind of born of this conversation between myself and Joe Sanok of Practice of the Practice and Jane Carter of the National Association of Counselors in Private Practice. Jane and I live in Asheville, North Carolina, which is like Beer City, USA for years running until Denver took it back. And so we have this like really rich beer and coffee culture. So we thought it would be fun to have a laid back event that's full of like really great practice building information, but not formality, because the three of us are like anti-formal.
Yeah.
Um, and just like a good relaxed time where people are getting their needs met for practice building. So we've got a 2-day event at the end of September on the 28th and 29th. And we're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about ways to like optimize your time and be more efficient. We're talking about really calling in your ideal clients, doing some money mindset stuff. And we've got this really interesting, exciting mix of people who are coming. We've got some brand newbies to private practice. We've got people who either have full private practices, but they built the wrong practice, or people who are kind of in that building phase. And then we've also got some group practice owners. So we've got this breadth of experience that I think is going to be really, really fun to work with. And so, yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be like our goal for it is for it to be equally informative and fun. And we're doing individual coaching over happy hour. So it's just
That's so
laid
cool.
back fun, like hanging out as like we're all in the soup together, peers, and here's some great information we can share. So yeah, I'm psyched about it.
That sounds so cool. And where can people also find your website?
Abundancepracticebuilding.com.
Sounds
Yeah,
awesome. And yeah, and I'll put the link to Brew Your Practice in the session notes and under the YouTube video as well.
awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for spending time with us today. And yeah, this was awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad we got to chat.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Allison shared some absolutely amazing insights with us today. To get notes and links from today's session, you can do so at catlove.com/session3. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.